Here's what the other media in the Tri-Cities, Tennessee area is going to say about ETSU not playing football in the fall. Oh, that's too bad. I'm going to give you the fallout of the decision. Hi, everybody. I'm Marky Bilson. Southern Conference decree no football in the fall for the Southern Conference. What does that mean for ETSU? Well, right now it means they have no football season. Athletic Director Scott Carter has basically gone on record as saying, well, we've got to, play it safe, worry about the health concerns of the players and the fans and so on. All the stereotypical PR things that you're supposed to say a man in his position. But there's one person this is really going to affect. And it's going to affect this person perhaps more than any other football player in the country. And I'm talking about Tyree Robinson, strong safety, ETSU Buccaneers, and an NFL prospect. Tyree Robinson is probably the best player that ETSU has had since they reinstated football. But now he's not going to be able to showcase his skills in the fall. And, you look at what Robinson has done. He started as a freshman, led the Southern Conference in interceptions in his sophomore season, a season in which the Buccaneers won a conference title for the first time in 37 years. Last year, of course, they regressed badly, but a lot of the reasons for that was because Robinson got hurt during the 8th game of the season. Certainly it's the reason why Raleigh Webb was able to catch a game-winning 73-yard touchdown pass against ETSU because Robinson wasn't in the lineup, and that's what allowed the Citadel to beat ETSU 31-27 last year. So, in difference between at least 3 victories and 4 victories, yeah, probably, if not more. Now, I've done some research. I know that on video and audio this doesn't come out well, but basically Robinson, he can run a 4.4 or a 4.5 40. He's a little thin, but he can play corner. Of course, he plays safety at ETSU. That's the difference between the FCS and the NFL. But here's the deal. When you don't have a college football season, how does Robinson, before the NFL Combine, which is, by the way, April 29th, 2021 in Cleveland, Ohio, how does he show scouts, hey, I'm recovered from my injuries. Hey, I can play this game. He is literally losing his best season of college football, his senior season, the season in which he will be the most physically mature and should be at his best. He's losing that because of the COVID-19. So where do you go from here? To explain this, you're looking at Robinson, someone who, could benefit very much for the reasons I told you. I'm back from injury. I don't have any ramifications from it. And also, he's an FCS player. It would behoove him to increase his resume. Right now his resume is nice, but I started as a freshman. And the NFL would say, if you're coming in from the FCS, kid, you better have. Well, I led the Southern Conference in interceptions my second year. Yeah, kid, we got a quarterback over here, Devlin Duck Hodges. The honeymoon kind of went out for him in Pittsburgh. We got 8 guys up here who've picked off Devlin Hodges. What else you got? I did pick off Hodges. Yeah, like I said, join the club over here, okay? What else is outstanding about you? And so you've got to ask yourself, if you're Robinson, what's my best plan to make the NFL? And really the way it stands right now is not to play any more games for ETSU, because if ETSU plays a football season in the springtime, let's say they begin in February or even, January, if the ACC plays, if the SEC plays, you're going to be talking about pro prospects, and certainly also the Big Ten, Pac-12, places like that. You're going to be talking about pro prospects who will have had months to recover from their bumps and bruises as they prepare for the combine to run their 40s and all that. It could be, if Robinson decides to play for ETSU, that he'll be coming right off the field and right into the 40. That's not gonna be in his best interest. He's gonna be scraped up. He's gonna have bumps and bruises. He may have even worse injuries that won't have the time to heal, and he won't be able to put his best foot forward. And if Robinson can't put his best foot forward, then ETSU can't put their best foot forward. Because right now ETSU is a 3-9 football program. They had every chance in the world to do something after a conference title, but yeah, too many quarterbacks got hurt, the wrong ones got played, some strategic decisions. Robinson got hurt, and 3-9 was the result. So now, with Nigel Player in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers camp, but ETSU really can't do anything for him right now. ETSU, to show that they can get to the next level, they've got to start producing football players for the NFL, which in a previous generation they were able to do sporadically. And they were able to do it a lot at defensive back. Thane Gash, member of the famous Dog Pounds of the Cleveland Browns. Donnie Abraham, who intercepted more than 30 passes in an NFL career with the Buccaneers and the Jets. And of course, Gerald Sensabaugh, the expert kick blocker who started at safety not only for the Dallas Cowboys, but the Jacksonville Jaguars as well. So, while a good season for Robinson would be a feather in his cap if he played a spring season, it wouldn't necessarily help him make the NFL. And let's face it, Nigel Player was rated by Jim Johnson of Southern Pigskin before the 2019 season as the 4th best player in the Southern Conference. So he signs a free agent contract with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but he's not drafted. Here, Tyree Robinson was rated as the best player coming into 2019 by Johnson. What's the guarantee? The best foot forward is for him to be at his peak physical condition for the training camp. And that means trying out, practicing, and avoiding contact as much as possible, or at least being healed from it. So it's time now for ETSU to really become pro player and really become pro Tyree Robinson. Now, Tyree Robinson is a guy that I have always liked. I know the first time most people heard of him, it was because his head coach hit him in the football helmet during spring practice. And Randy Sanders, the head football coach, got a letter of reprimand. And what happened after that was ETSU fans started calling Robinson the best player they've had in this century, perhaps, or at least since Gerald Sensabaugh, soft. It was disgraceful. It was absolutely disgraceful. The pro-Sanders, who's this whiny Tyree Robinson, a player the Johnson City Press couldn't even spell his name right. They forgot the N in Robinson. How do you do that? And he had already been starting. It was all pro-coach, anti-player, and that's just not the way college football is going. That was the coverage given to Robinson. And then all Robinson did was become ETSU's best player and lead them on defense to their first conference title in almost 50 years, 37 seasons. So ETSU should now start preparing to try to get Robinson into the pros. Even if they don't have any games, first thing is if he decides to sit out a spring football season, support him. Say that's okay. Do not do a Carl Torbush and say, I don't like the way this is going in college football, because you're not going to win that battle. The new college football player, be on an FBS or FCS level, is going to want to go to a college that's pro player. And if you're lamenting the fact that he's trying to make his best effort to get into the NFL, you're not pro player. What I would do is, and I know Carter has said, well, we've got to worry about the health of the players and the students and all that, But I would call up the SEC and the ACC and possibly even the Big 12. West Virginia is within busing distance, certainly. and call him up and talk to him about a game. Because showcasing Robinson's skills against the top competition is only going to continue to help his NFL prospects. And that's right now where ETSU football is. They've got to be able to show they can produce a pro player. Players out of their hands, now focus on Robinson. I'd also start a media campaign. Get him in front of cameras. He's never really been in front of cameras. Occasionally he might get a quote, but the interviews he did for NFL draft websites far exceed the interviews he's done in 3 years as a player at ETSU. Ever since the Randy Sanders incident, Tyree Sanders has basically been a guy that, the media hasn't really talked to, and really they didn't talk to him before then either. And as a result, it hasn't been hey, look at this rehabilitated relationship between coach and player. It's been, let's try to forget that incident. Now, let's try to forget that incident isn't helping Robinson make the pros. It's not helping Sanders recruit players. It's not helping ETSU as a football program. Rehabilitating the image, showing that helps the ETSU football program, and certainly Tyree Robinson, certainly Randy Sanders. From Randy Sanders also, I know that maybe his best position on your team is safety. Move him to cornerback. My goodness, this is a cluster of season anyway. Move him to corner. Showcase his pro abilities. He's too small to play safety in the NFL, but he's not too small to play corner at 5'11", 184. That's where he'll be looked at as a pro prospect. Enhance that. The reason why Ed O'Neill is an actor, when he tried out for the NFL, he had to learn a new position. He was a linebacker. His size, he said, try tight end. He always said, I was trying to learn a new position and make pro football. It just wasn't going to happen. If Ed O'Neill couldn't do it, Tyree Robinson, he's going to have an 0-1 count on his chances of making the NFL too. So put him at corner. Get him some experience. Get him that game against the tough opponent. Even if ETSU is cannon fodder, even if they play 2 games or 1 game in which they get blown out, hey, you'll get a check and you'll be promoting your own players, and you'll be showing that you're serious about playing football, whereas some other schools will just be sitting at home. Better to lose 70-0 than not play at all in this situation. These are the things you need to be able to do if you're ETSU. Promote Robinson. Be pro player. Speak highly of him, even if he doesn't play spring football. I've even theorized maybe if you had a spring football season, say it begins beginning of February, right after the Super Bowl or something. Play 2 games, and then, thanks Tyree, prepare for that combine, heal up for 2.5 months, focus on your studies, go from there. We'll teach you corner. But right now, that's where the ETSU football program is. They've got to be able to show that they can produce NFL players. They've got to be able to show that they are pro player. Right now, they're showing they can put quarterbacks in Vienna and follow up a conference championship season with 3-9 and somehow keep their best player in the shadows. That's not going to work. That needs to change. Folks, I'm Mark E. Bilson. I ask that you follow me on this YouTube channel. Hit the bell. You know what you're doing. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I give the best ETSU commentary there is. Until next time, I'm Mark E. Bilson.